outside, and I just been noticed by the message cookies we are on top of building here, and try to ask questions about these kinds of complex. And a lot of my friends have the same feeling too. And that's the reason why when I had this assignment, I decided to choose reveal and my main concept. Because I want to reveal not just the story behind the gas work, but also the potential chance of it to become a very interesting place, a series of interesting place, from a socially exclusive place, an industrial site, to a socially inclusive place, a place where everyone can access. And also to review our attitude toward the heritage value, to keep the value for the next future, for the next generation. Basically, from my master plan is my angle, and I plan. I choose the vertical top to put my exhibition gallery space on the ground floor. My social brief is the kind of mini cinema, a small cinema, and a gathering space on top of that. I think I go straight to the interior of the vertical top because we don't have enough time for everything. As far as this is the ground floor, my exhibition and art gallery space. This is the existing fabric, and for this space, I want to focus on the central axis here, which is light up from like from a light box beneath the floor and from above to light up the existing fabric. There's a heel column here, which is used to lift up the machinery, but I don't want to light up because it's quite heel, it's quite dominant in the place, in the space, and I just want to put it back to the background. My exhibition panel will be put around the central axis here. And in this space, also use some kinds of wheelbarrow and also the metal container. We can half cut it and put it on the ground floor to create a feeling of floating, which is another interpretation of reveal, my concept. Also we can use the color and light to play with the existing fabric, so we can see the connection between the old and the new one in the same existing object, from a very rustic object to an art object. Also glass, double glass, also provide to as well as act as a weatherproof for the whole space, but also this light can be saving glass to preserve a dark theme here, like this in the space. And we can also see the relation of the internal space and external space outside. For the next floor, my social brief. According to my brief, I choose a mini cinema, a kind of small cinema for my space here. Basically, this is where we start from the stair, go along this corridor, and we enter the cinema space here. From this space, I open the existing one of the machinery to use the whole space like this. I use both this space and this space for the cinema because I just don't want to close the people to a very close space like this. So it's very, I thought that it's quite very narrow and can very easy to get panic when there is the emergency case or something. So we also have two pathway around space. I think with me my more interesting things is this kind of wall here, which is I use that to bring back the absence of the machinery in this space in an abstract way, because actually we don't know what's really going to happen in the past. This one we just made up from golden steel, perforated with the spot pattern, and a light bulb inside, so we can see the content of this light bulb is this diaphragm, this the gas making process vertically top, and I use that as a message along the space. in relation to my concept of preview, this kind of typology of this one can reveal partly the message, and we can just view the full message, the entire message diagram when we go through this corridor here from this point. Yeah.
We've got about 1.5 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And another access to this space is the third floor here, which is the existing structure. We can go there by the lift. This access I dedicated for the wheelchair access. So for the wheelchair people, they can we can see that in this section. They can go from behind the room, because they can access to this in the way of staircase like this. Yes. The last series of space I created in the vertically top building is kind of a gathering space. It's not actually a restaurant because it's too small for that kind of service. But yeah, basically this is the existing fabric, and this is the same view from this one. I want to keep on the existing structure, like the handrail and the column and the steel frame here. And just for this space, I want to close this sign to avoid too many things come to the space here. And with this situation,
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's my time.
30 seconds. Yeah.
So this one become a light box in the night to light the whole space, and from the inside it's become like a background for kinds of the gathering space here. This is the most fully furnished space of mine in the vertically top because I want to create different feeling, different themes with the other space here in the vertically top. Here's my tunnel. Basically, this is the concept how we can construct this kind of world. I use that again in the reception desk. The trash hall outside from my ATD and the west space. That's one.
Thank you. Alfonse, with the machinery that you're taking out of the centre of the vertical retort building, what did you decide to do with that in the end?
I put that outside here like a sculpture for the whole side, and to attract the people who go along this street. Yeah.
So they're just sort of lying there, they're not protected at all? That's just
no. I intend to do kinds of glass box to protect the machinery inside.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go in there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, that's fine. And can you just take us through just the journey of entering into the building?
Okay. As first, we can access from here bottom to where this way and the outside.
And these are the pergolas of the areas that you show on the bottom images here.
The
access points. Yeah, the access points.
This is the access point from here because we have the web space here. This web space will hold about 50% access of the whole site. Yes. So if we enter this way, we enter the web space. And for the vertical building is somewhere here when we pass through the threshold. This threshold is like a gateway for the whole site. Yeah.
So the WEF, just to explain, the WEF space is another communal space that people use for various activities, which could be anything from yoga to
community hall.
Similar, type of thing. So they were asked to work on that in one of their other subjects.
This web space is where I try to generate the sense of social sustainability because I try to put a lot of flexible system space here so people can gather around the classroom.
And so the upper floor here, gathering space.
Yeah.
Is that got a kitchenette, a bar,
or? No, actually,
it's just meeting space, is it?
Yeah, according to my brief, it's just a space for soft drink and some snack. It's like a gathering space more than a restaurant here. Yeah.
So can you buy drinks and
Yeah.
snacks there?
By drinking.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Just wondering why they go up all those stairs.
Yeah. And it's also, isn't it also meant to be a waiting area for the cinema?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to create a waiting area along this space.
Mm.
Because this space is on top of the machinery, which is here. And what actually here is the space below.
And you've kept existing levels, haven't you, through the entire space?
Actually, for accessing this space, I create a staircase here.
Okay.
It's a mezzanine in the centre, in the section of the...
Yeah, this is section.
Yeah. Alfonse went to an enormous amount of trouble to understand the complexity of the different levels through the building, and he actually revealed in his theme, in fact, he revealed that the drawings that they were given were not incorrect, but were very deceptive in the different floor levels. So he figured all that out, which is very clever. Sorry, and
No, that's all right. Graphically, it looks great. Your imagery, the way you've developed it up, is really good. It clearly expresses what you're trying to achieve in those spaces. I'm not sure that the space is really activated, that it will be an active building all the time in what the choice of spaces that you've chosen and the locations you've put them at. I mean, in some ways you almost want the cinema on the top level, so that when people walk out, they walk past the gathering space and they stop and have they're on the way down, and they'll stop and, it'll be a bar and they'll have drinks there afterwards or something, something to eat afterwards. But the point that it's above it again, you might find that people miss it. And the fact that the downstairs space is quite dark and moody, and, are you going to be able to bring enough people through that space and activate it, if it's just it's a walk-through space almost. So, the choices there are interesting, the way you've separated the levels and what you've chosen for each of those levels. I'm not sure of the social benefits of a cinema, unless it's showing free movies and...
Actually, I intend to show the documentary films about the whole site.
Right.
As well.
There's actually only one cinema in Launceston, so
This will be an independent cinema that shows great art house movies. Right. So it's I suppose the social context there in regards to how you're you opened by saying that it was exclusive and now you want to make it inclusive to the community. I'm not sure I see that in the choice of spaces that you've got there, that's really drawing the local community in and activating it across the community. So it's still a specialist, almost an art precinct. How you draw those people in, I'm not quite sure yet. But graphically, I think it looks great. I get very confused when you turn the reflector ceiling plan and the floor plan around in different directions. So.
I just realised when it's spring out.
I'm looking at it, trying to work out where the stair is, and it's I'm going from one plan to the other, and the lift keeps changing. So that's best not to do that generally. But great work.
I think you come a long way, Alfonse. And your technique in visualising these spaces in your 3D presentations are really excellent. I see what Suzette is actually saying with the way that drawing people into the spaces. But on the other hand, this is a building that has a certain mystique about it, and I actually like the darker spaces underneath. I like the way that you treated that, and it's still and it's still got that sort of grungy kind of feel about it.
I just want to recreate my first feeling when I access this.
Yes, and it does feel like that when you're in there. But he's cleaned it all up and kind of just highlighted parts. So I kind of tend to think of it being more this sense of discovery, kind of going through the building. Yeah. We did talk about the cinema quite a bit, and if and how that would work. But in the resolution of it, I think you've you've come up with some really lovely interior spaces in there. And I think you've really listened to what we've discussed in that respect and come up with something quite exciting and very atmospheric and an interior that really does suit that building through the material choice and the design. And I like the light, display behind there showing that. But I'm just wondering whether you could have incorporated that, because you've got quite a strong vertical presence in the building, and I'm wondering if you could have incorporated that vertically, as it is a vertical. That process was vertical, not horizontal. You've kind of shown that horizontally. And, I think from, historical point of view of the building, you've treated it quite sensitively. It was quite a strong move to actually take all of the machinery out of the middle. But I think you've shown that you've done that sympathetically, and the way that you've treated the space, that you've replaced, has also been done with some sympathy to the building and to its historical significance. So, I'd like to congratulate you on that. And I think the materials, just quickly, the sustainability aspects of the materials that you've actually selected. And
for the selecting of material, I would like to use some, for the light smoke here, I decided to use the LED light panel as the light source for the light smoke, because it saves a lot of energy.
Yeah.
For the carpet here, I use the recycled carpet for the cinema space, and and cotton steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a very simple palette of materials, and
And so, just on the waterproofing of the building and the energy and the water aspects of it, how did you, and waterproofing, not just waterproofing, but thermally heating and cooling the building space? What was your proposal there?
I would like to dedicate this space here, which is very safe for the cinema, and the space inside this machinery for service, for ventilation, and for aircon. It's like the heart of the whole space to keep the heat inside the space.
Okay, so you just weatherproofing that centre and
the
the
cinema area and the gathering space above it, is it? That's waterproof?
Yeah, that's space. Yeah. In the centre of the whole building, so we can keep the heat inside the space.
And so the exhibition space, gallery space on the ground floor is just open to weather and...
Okay, so you'd have to be careful what exhibits you put in there, is that right? Okay, all right.
Which might limit your ability and flexibility of the space. So just be careful of that. Or it may just be it's a museum type for machinery and for objects that don't have that much criteria for it, but then you do limit your space from that perspective.
Yeah, right. Unless those are you proposing those coloured boxes hermetically sealed, or are they sealed boxes?
It's not actually a sealed box. I would like to have kinds of glass door here, so we can it can open in.
Okay.
That could be temperature controlled. For special objects.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Very good.
Thank
you.